shall we talk about Dancing for the Devil, and then we can answer
with the devil.
Dancing. No, it's for the devil. Yeah, because the guy was the devil.
Is it for? Really?
I think it's for, yeah, Dancing for the Devil, because he's the devil. And yeah, Dancing for the Devil. Ha ha. Dancing for the Devil, and then we can do audience questions at the end as well.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
So, for those of you that haven't seen Dancing for the Devil, it is a Netflix 3-part docu-series
Yes.
about what they are labeling a cult, which was based around TikTok dancers that were managed by, or they gained a manager who was the pastor.
Yeah.
Like, how do you say that in an English accent?
Pastor.
You say
Rain?
pastor. I think that's Rain.
Wild.
He was the pastor of a church, and he offered to be their manager because I guess their management company wasn't doing the do at the time, which I guess is just normal business. He said, I could do this. And you would have seen the dancers that they're talking about. There's a bunch of them. I would say Google Dancing for the Devil if you want to see who we're talking about. But the main one that is focused around is this girl called Miranda. And there's a few others. Some are named, some are not. Like, I know the guy in it, Concrete, is a crumper,
Yeah.
Concrete
but also
words.
Tight Eyes is heavily part of this, and I'm sure there's crumpers that we'll talk
I
about.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
He was like way in with them, so he wasn't in the documentary at all.
No.
So,
But
which
he's-
leads me to think he's still
But
doing.
he's also not, well, I'm sure since the documentary came out, some of that would have changed, but like it doesn't say that he's affiliated with them on his Insta.
but neither does it with the Miranda girl.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
So
And also, I think it's like there's nothing that says the name of that management
It used to.
company
It used to say-
anymore.
yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
Right.
Like,
so because there was like pages that came out going exposing 7M and all
Got
this.
you.
So it's a bunch of TikTok dancers who, in essence, were managed, and they seemingly it worked for a while because they were getting all these gigs and getting adverts,
yeah.
getting the TikToks were blowing up and doing huge numbers and stuff. They were getting ads, they were getting all these opportunities, they were getting shows, etc. And then kind of what came out was that they were not only paying horrendous like cuts to their management company, but also paying like money to the church and donations and stuff, which in the documentary they kind of say are like not enforced, but like heavily suggested that you should be paying these cuts.
Yes.
And there was also in there it was a bit loose, I think, unless I'm misremembering, but there was some allegations of like sexual assault and stuff,
Yeah.
which there was people that were like past cult members who weren't dancers.
Yeah.
Their stuff sounded like heavy, but from the dancers, I don't know that I heard much actual stuff
same.
from them. It was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
just this woman who was like a past member who had left. She said, oh, there was some crazy like sexual assault and just assault.
Yeah, it felt like it needed the TikTok element to make it sellable, but that the real weight of the documentary was in the people that had been there for decades.
Yeah, the
and
people
they
that-
didn't really
yeah.
Connected.
do well to make them matter to each other. It was like two separate things, I thought.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess also the main girl that it was centered around, it was like her and her family, and she's still a part of it.
Bless them.
And they were kind of coming out saying we've lost our daughter and we don't speak to her and she doesn't want to speak to us. Did you see she put out a statement?
I didn't see her statement.
She put out a statement kind of being like, it's a two-sided story and they've, been heavily biased, and like I didn't want contact with my family because I didn't agree with how they were speaking about my lifestyle and blah blah. She also didn't address a ton of stuff that they said in the documentary. Like it's like she watched the first episode and then made a statement about the first episode. Because there's a bunch of stuff. It's like, yeah, but also what about the rest of it?
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else I've missed? I think that's it. Like it kind of ends with half of the people featured left. There's also
Everyone that took part is not in it,
Yeah.
basically. Everyone that's interviewed.
everyone that's in the
left.
documentary has left. Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
Nobody that's still involved, like,
Was in the documentary.
No,
Agreed.
apart from their like content
Yes. And there's some people that I know, or like, let's say I suspect outside of this that weren't in the documentary that I think are maybe still in it. And I also think there's some people that aren't in the documentary that have left. So I think there's other players in the thing. I didn't know anything about this.
No, Devin mentioned it to me while he was here. Friend that I hosted a deep dive for, and I was like, I have no idea like what you're talking about. I've never even heard of 7M. Like I don't know anything.
I guess also maybe it's a more LA thing. Like if we were there, maybe
and
we'd know.
TikTok. Like I don't have that.
But also I feel like I didn't know what it was, and then when I saw who it was about, I was like, I have seen these people on Instagram for
I knew the TikTokers.
Yeah.
I knew them.
Did you?
Yeah, from years, but I'd seen them, and then I always thought like. I just attributed it to it being a TikTok thing and me not really understanding TikTok. I was like,
it's weird.
Why do these videos feel so weird?
There's a girl with locks. I think she's got locks. She's like a mixed race girl with like green eyes, and it's always her and one other person doing that same kind of like manipulating stuff. And
I know who you mean. That's Blueprint. I don't think that's the same people.
Oh, okay. Because just that style of thing.
Yeah. There's crossover. I think there's people that have done videos with them that are in the other thing.
Right.
But I think the Reno guy who's apparently still in it, I think he did videos with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think she did a lot of stuff with Blueprint, and I think they're separate. I could be wrong.
Right.
But
fine.
I think they're separate. But yeah,
I don't remember seeing it and thinking demons. Like didn't think that, but I do remember thinking like weird.
It does. I don't. But then now I don't know, and now I can't be unbiased because now I'm looking at it thinking, yeah, that did always feel weird. But then I'm like, is that because I just saw the documentary and I'm
not weird in like that is anything to do with the documentary that we watched, but just like I don't know.
I did,
but I feel like part of it for me, and that's why I said like I always felt it was weird, and then seeing the documentary, I was like, that's why it was fucking strange vibes, but. At the same time, there's so many weird things on TikTok. Like there's people that are like for like 6 hours, and then people are paying hundreds and thousands of dollars to watch this.
I don't have TikTok.
So me too. But it's like there's so much of it that I don't understand and that feels so strange to me. So I just kind of attributed those videos to like just another thing that is
not your
that I just don't get.
Yeah, fair.
But now I'm like, I just don't get it because it was a devil. No, I'm joking. But
I do remember making jokes about that. Like, I remember making jokes being like, they look like they're being forced to do this. But I thought it was like because they're making money off it. They were just like forced to keep doing it. But come to find out.
They were.
I mean, the thing is, documentaries are lethal in the sense that like, I could believe anything if like I've watched documentaries about like ancient aliens building the pyramids and kind of gone, that does sound like it could be the case. So I mean, it's like whatever you want to convince me of, like
I was listening to a podcast about reality TV, and one of the producers did say like even documentaries are like scripted, because there's an edit, like there's still like
they want to sell a narrative.
There's still a storyboard of like
Well, I mean, I've done some like I did a couple of workshops in like filming for documentaries, and like it's like you have to like kind of understand the narrative, and like if you think of you watch The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan one.
I've watched it many times.
Even with that, it's like if you watch like, and we spoke about also the Dr. Dre one, right?
Yes. Please watch if you haven't. You're not a football person, are you?
No, but I would watch it if it's a documentary.
The about Man City winning the treble.
Okay.
Man
United?
No, City.
Oh.
They won it like a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
City are better than United now. It's not the 90s. No, because it was a thing to me too.
Yeah.
I don't follow football anymore, but
right.
Like I remember being like City weren't a thing when we were younger. But it's a very good sports documentary.
Okay,
anyway,
I'm in.
As you were.
But why I was saying that was what? What was I saying?
Last Dance. Something to do with
The Last Dance. If you think about how fucking intricate that story is, like we're telling you the story of this happening, and it's 5 different interviews that are like, like it's like you saying, yeah, and then I said, and then it's me finishing off your sentence. Like it's so, and I've tried. It's so impossible to have like a coherent, not only narrative but also overlapping interviews by accident. You can't just interview randomly 5 people and then make it make. It's like you have to ask the same question in 5 different ways until you get what you want. You have to ask them to repeat stuff. You have to like be very specific. Like you have to come with the narrative beforehand. So almost every documentary has an agenda.
What did you think of this documentary?
I think they definitely wanted to sensationalize it as a cult. I mean, the TikTok people alone, it does sound like a terrible business deal because, and this is where either you're brainwashed or you just made bad decisions, because like they're saying like, oh, we had to pay this much, this fee, then this fee, then this fee, then the thing to the church and blah, blah, blah. And some of them weren't even religious before they started. First of all, the minute you start talking about God to me in a business meeting, I'm going to leave. Secondly, when it's like, look at all the conversations we have, and maybe this is the whole thing of like,
it's like you can barely say the word energy, right?
I'm out.
Yeah, our vibrations are out, gotta go. But like maybe this is the thing of like, not all of these dancers were professional dancers. Maybe I don't know their backstories, but it sounds like they were TikTokers, which is like like you going into meeting and then being like, right, this is your fee, this is your thing, this is the cut, this is, you'd be like, okay, first of all, no, like, could you not? Thanks. Like, so I think this is maybe where it's easier for them to get like, oh, this is normal. You give this, and they maybe didn't have anyone to guide them, because I don't imagine that being able to happen to any professional dancers for a long period.
I don't know, because like Concrete's a professional.
Is he? Like, does he have like professional experience before this?
Yeah, I think. Well, he did the Renaissance tour, and I can't imagine that was his first job.
Yeah. You know what?
But it's like, how do you hear that business deal and go,
no, but
sure?
Because this is the thing, and this is why it's like, you know, I think this is the point that the documentary is making, and from experience also, like
being in a cult.
Yeah. No, but even like growing up dancing, and in my like late teens, early 20s, it's like I was fortunate to have like a mom that was quite not involved in what I was doing, but she always had an eye on the people I was around.
Right.
And like there was people that, you know, she didn't like, or she didn't get a good vibe, and she was always kind of, you know, not very far from what was going on and advising and stuff. But I think it's like, in that world, I wanted it so much. Like it is like, I wanted to dance and do stuff and be out there and be part of things that, like, you know, I don't consider myself a like stupid person, but at the same time, if there had been really bad people around me at that time,
they could have, like,
I could have gotten roped into some things that also, were really sketchy.
Not to mention they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I was going to say, like, a 30% off 5-6 figures is still
fair.
And it's like, I feel like, you know, it's like preying on people's ambition, but also on their desire to be part of something. And it's like, it creates a little bit of a community, like within that small group of people. And then it's,
and I guess they were younger as well, if we're giving them.
I don't know how old they were, but it's like, all of, you know, I know some are native to LA, but some of them also like moved to LA. Yeah. So then it's kind of, you're in you're in this jungle, like trying to make it in the industry, away from all the people that like hold you down.
Yeah, so, you can see how it could happen.
So I think that
you can't.
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, no, but it's sure. It's just like, and especially, you know, also I think there, like you said, there were people that were not religious, but there were also some people that were very religious, and that were looking for that,
how to do
both. And they were looking for that spiritual guidance and that, like, you know, kind of church environment. So it's like, that's why these like cults or these organizations like prey on people that are looking for that, which is why it's so evil also, because it's like there is a certain level of vulnerability when people are like looking, like seeking guidance, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard thing, because also what I do think that they sensationalize a lot is like the fact that it's a church at all. Like the fact that it's a religious thing, they tried to make it of like, and he made us go to mass and like make that into a thing where, like, I know plenty of people that are very religious and does. Like Dennis is very religious person, and he talks about God a lot in his journey and stuff like that, and it's not weird, it's just like that's his faith and that's what he likes. So I think the makers of the documentary know that anything religious is going to be a cult, like it's a cult buzzword almost. Like
I think the cult bit is in like isolating them from their surroundings. But I find it, I know it's like they're not separate things, but it was how he went from like sermon to business seminar in like seconds. And like, you know, religious people aren't anti money, but just like the focus on, you know, the financial success that you'll have. It's just like, which is it? But it was also the don't talk to your family, and then
talk to your
family,
because that will
there's bits in it, and when Luke and I spoke about it initially, like I've been in the context of like romantic relationships, situations where all of my friends are like, oh my God, get out. And I'm just like, but I love him. But like literally everybody is like, no, get out.
Yeah.
So I know what it is to be like blinded by a thing, but you are until you're not. And I think those family bits, not even the initial cutoff, because I can get how that happens, and I'm sure it wouldn't have been a swift like stop talking to them. Like it's very, you know, manipulation happens like over time and very slowly, and you don't really know that it's happening. But then when that's flipped, I'm sure it was also done very slowly, but you've still got your wits about you to a degree. You'd be like, no, but wait, how what, speak to them again. I really did feel for the parents in the like not mentioning it. Like Miranda would only stay around if they didn't bring it up. And like, I don't know if I'd be able to manage that. I got their point. Like, it's the only way we get to see her. But I loved that their other daughter was like, but we don't, I can't remember what the mum said, but it was as if like the situation was, you know, being discussed and everything was above board. And like the sister was just like, we don't bring it up, like we're not dealing with it.
I mean, there's nothing that, like, no matter how much my parents like hated something I was doing, I'd be like, I'd want to talk about it. I'd be like, what is it that you hate so much? I need to understand why you hate this thing that I'm doing so much. And like, how can I, like, if they were like, oh, I hate this capsule thing that you're doing, I'd be like, can you come and watch the pod? Come to an event. Like, please, like, can I introduce you to people that we work with? Like, how can I make you understand? Because I'd be like, I wouldn't
There's
be
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, if I believe there was nothing wrong with it. That's the thing where I'm like, the behavior's a bit like, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's like a different type of family or whatever, but to be the person, not only the family, but like to be the person being like, I'm happy to go and hang out with my family as long as they don't bring up this thing that they hate about me or the thing that I spend my life doing. I'd be, I find that weird.
There's just some people that is like, you know, and I think that's part of the like brainwash and the whatever, but it's like separating you from like, oh, you're walking with God and people don't understand it. And they're like, if they're trying to pull you away from it, it's because they're evil and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, there is no reasoning. Like there is no right or wrong. It's just like, you don't see like what I'm doing, so there's no point in discussing this. So it's like, I don't even want, you know, and it, like, I think that's the whole point of
I think that's the
manipulation, but of isolating people where it's not a reasonable conversation that can happen.
I think the thing with religion where it is a thing of like blind faith, anyone that you trust that represents that religion is in a position where they can make you blindly have faith in anything. So why is it that we have faith that I don't, but we have faith that like if you pray, God will hear it, right? So then now if someone goes, oh, if you eat this thing, it's a representative of his body and that's what Jesus said. Why? Oh, because, I don't know, this book says it. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, this book also said if you give money to the church, you're going to go to heaven. And it's like, Yeah, well, it kind of does say that. Yeah, all right, cool. And it kind of says in this chapter, if you read it the right way, if you do this, then you'll also, and it's like, it's very easy for someone with nefarious intentions to like manipulate religion, because you're starting from a place of blind faith, you know? It's very hard to manipulate, or harder, I guess, to manipulate someone that's like myself, is like atheist, because it's like, I have no blind faith in anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to get me there. You have to really manipulate me into that. And it's, to be honest, it's like also, I've never really been like manipulated, and maybe that's why I'm kind of naive about it. But like, there's even things like, you know, I could be with someone for like 8 years, and it's like, if there was like certain things said, it would immediately raise a red flag. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But this,
no matter how much I trust someone, if it was my mom, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not sure you should be saying that, you know?
Yeah, but also it's like, you know, it can happen at different points in people's lives, but it's like, I think that the people who are likely to get into something like this are people that have like certain levels of vulnerability.
Yes. Is it a very, like, there's, I mean, this is like something,
and it's like in, even with other cult documentaries that I watched, it's like people who are like desperately like wanting to find their soulmate and the love of their lives. And it's like this is such a important thing in your life that you're kind of willing to let go of like part of yourself to find that. So whether that's like a community or spirituality or love,
or you're just going through tough times and you need someone to get you out
exactly. So it's like, not like, I don't want to be like negative, but there are people out there that are like preying on people with those vulnerabilities at different points in their lives. And there are these people that exist in our own communities or in the like adjacent like industries or organizations. So I think it's like such an important thing to, you know, not everybody has good relationship with their own family, but to have, you know, to trust like the people that are close to you and that have cared about you since day dot, you know,
at least hear them out and like,
even if it's a relationship and everyone is like, get out. Also, you know, I've been in one, but
no, your friends say he's the best.
But I just think that it is a reality of life, and although we can look at a documentary like this and kind of be not judgmental, but like, how could they buy that? That looks so bad. Like, if I would hear that, I would never fall for something like that. But you know, I think
our weak spots.
Yeah, and these things are also insidious.
Insidious.
Okay, sure.
I think
depends. Let her finish the sentence.
Yeah, let a girl talk.
I don't know what the word is supposed to be.
Yeah, but I think that like you don't see it's not as blatant like from the outset, and I think, like I said, at different times in our lives we might have been vulnerable to different kinds of manipulation. So I think it's more looking at things like that and checking ourselves and our own blind spots in these areas, whether it's now or at a past time or maybe in the future. But like, although I would like to think I could not get wrapped up in a cult now, like,
but I will say there are levels to this. Like, this is an extreme version.
Sure.
I think there's like the relationship version. There's also gentler manipulation, which maybe isn't as drastic as that, but it's still manipulation. And I think one thing I would say to everyone listening is there's no shortcuts to anything. And if something's too good to be true, if something's too easy, like if you're in a terrible situation, you're I don't know, not feeling good about yourself or whatever it might be, the person that comes and solves all your problems should be a red flag, I think. It's very rare that like you have someone that just swoops in and fixes everything.
Yeah.
And I think often I know people that are like, I know people now, right now, that are like drawn to people like that because they just want someone to tell them. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I'm lost. Life is hard. Being freelance as a dancer is hard. Oh, if I do this, that person is going to make everything okay too. Oh, that person is a success, so I'm just going to do everything they tell. And people that, I've had people come to me for like mentoring or stuff that have had this sort of attitude. And I've said, don't even listen to, like, if you're listening to me too much, it's a bad thing. And that's my advice as your mentor, is stop listening to me only. Like, you should have not only me, but you should have a circle of people, and you should aggregate all of the advice you get and make your own fucking decision. Don't do just what I tell you, because I'm just coming from one biased point of view, and it's a dangerous thing to get wrapped up in like one person is your everything, if you know what I mean. Like, I've always had people that I've trusted for different things in different ways, and like emotional stuff, dance stuff, battle stuff, whatever. And I think, but at the end of the day, I always run it through a filter of, yeah, but what do I want to do? And I see a lot of people that, whether it's relationships, dance stuff, whatever, they just do what they're told because it's stressful and hard to think for yourself. Yeah. And to decide what you want to do. And I get that we go through things of needing mentors or needing, you know, for some of us it's our parents, or some of it's our dance teachers or whatever. But it's like, you have to, as kind of, it's not sad in a way, because I'm not only saying it can be in, like, there's the dangerous element of it, which is the nefarious stuff, but it can also just be like, someone's giving you their biased view on the world, which is like let's say with the people that I've spoken to, and I'm you know, I'm teaching them to dance, or I'm teaching them about the battle scene, or teaching them to freestyle. It's like, yeah, but you shouldn't only listen to me, because I don't think I'm wrong, but I'm not the full truth. So go and learn from that person and that person. And if you come up with a different view on the world than me, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means we have different views and we're different people. And we should all have slightly different views on the world, you know, based on our experiences. But I think it's a bit dangerous to just take everything one person tells you as fact, whether that gets into those crazy territories, or it just gets into like, you just grow up to be a clone of that person.
Yeah, it's very reliant and not a sense of self so much.
Which I think for me is like one of the most important things in life. It's like who you are and
well, I hope that all the people that are in it, or whatever version of it is existing now, are okay, and
sending love.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Well, not prayers. Thoughts and thoughts.
Thoughts and thoughts.
You've got enough prayers.
Thoughts and thoughts.
Yeah.
Less prayers for you.
Yeah.
But as little prayers as you need. But or as many prayers. I don't know. Okay. I just hope these people are
good
okay.
wrapping up of the topic.